What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video and back with some more news. Yeah, I really don't sleep, do I? Anyway, join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including why Becky Lynch returned and squashed Bianca Belair at Summerslam in just 20 seconds, major problems at Summerslam, was Nikki Bella banned from Summerslam? Was that John Cena's last WWE match ever? Next superstar makes a surprise appearance at a WWE signing, WWE removed Bray Wyatt signed during SummerSlam, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, our first story looks at why Becky Lynch returned and squashed Bianca Belair. Now, top story relates to Becky Lynch's huge return at last night's SummerSlam, as fans went into SummerSlam expecting to see a WrestleMania 37 match between Banks and Belair for the SmackDown Women's title, but what they got was something else entirely. I've never heard that much amount of silence when Carmella came out, to be honest. It was pin drop silence. After Carmella came out, Becky Lynch came out and made a return for the first time since May of 2020. Becky received an enormous ovation from the live crowd, and it was a moment that nobody saw coming. Becky would challenge Bianca in an impromptu match for the SmackDown Women's title, which Bianca would ultimately accept. But Becky ended up squashing Bianca in just 27 seconds. Although fans were delighted to see Becky back, there are a number of complaints online that the match made Bianca look incredibly weak, and it would have made for more sense for Bianca and Becky to have a competitive back and forth match. But in relation to why WWE decided to bring Becky back for SummerSlam to face Sasha, well, according to Ringside News, this wasn't in the initial script. When Sasha was ruled out at the last minute, WWE decided to bring Becky back as Sasha's replacement. In fact, according to Ringside News, they had 8 days notice in advance. So the return and squash unfortunately had nothing to do with CM Punk's return. It was expected that Becky would return to the Raw brand, as she was a member of the Raw roster before her departure last year. But in all likelihood, Becky had been moved to SmackDown to give her the ability to travel with her husband Seth Rollins, who was also on the SmackDown brand, hence why she defeated Bianca in such quick time. It was all unplanned, and since this was a last minute change, it seems that there wasn't enough time to build a proper match. Now, it's kind of fair to assume that WWE knew that cancelling one of the most anticipated matches on the SummerSlam card without any prior warning could have potentially resulted in fans hijacking the show. Therefore, WWE decided to bring a major star back to prevent this from happening. We're still wondering why they played the hype video even though they knew in advance that Banks wasn't going to be there. Next up, major problems at SummerSlam 2021. Now, our next story relates to a number of major technical glitches at SummerSlam last night. According to fans in attendance at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, the payment system inside the stadium went down. This meant that fans couldn't purchase food or even drink. Additionally, it was reported that the Wi-Fi in the arena stopped working completely, and to make things worse, fans in the stadium reported that there were problems in the toilet overflowing. The stadium actually began to give out free food and drink due to the issues, which is the least they could have done in the circumstances. It's rather crazy that a stadium of this magnitude didn't have a backup plan in place. In addition to this, there were also problems with the pyrotechnics. Fans in the arena stated that there were a number of lights which obstructed their view of the action. This led to fans chanting for WWE to turn the lights in their section off. Now, this has actually been a common criticism towards WWE stadium shows, most notably at WrestleMania 35, where fans couldn't see the majority of the Orton vs AJ Styles match, so they were forced to change their lighting system for the rest of the show. Next up, was Nikki Bella banned from SummerSlam last night? The Bella twins have been rumored to have one more run in the WWE for some time now. Both Nikki and Bray have reportedly wanted to come back into the mix and win the women's tag team titles before they officially retire. Fans had believed that the relationship between the Bella twins and the WWE was strong, as they often promote the Bella twins' other ventures outside of wrestling. However, this didn't appear to be the case, as according to Nikki Bella, she wasn't allowed to attend SummerSlam last night. Nikki would post an image of herself with the caption, "When you're not allowed to go to SummerSlam in Las Vegas." Now, it's unclear why Nikki wasn't allowed to attend, as she didn't reveal any details as to what the issues were with her attending. I don't know, maybe it was because Cena was there, but probably not. Both Nikki and Bray were inducted into the Hall of Fame as part of WrestleMania 37's weekend, and this was the last time the duo appeared on WWE programming. Next up, an ex-superstar makes a surprise appearance at a WWE signing last night. A former WWE superstar, JTG, made a special appearance during an official WWE signing yesterday. JTG, who has been enjoying success in the NWA, was seen taking a photograph with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and JTG was also in the attendance at SummerSlam itself. And throughout the show, he offered praise towards Edge's special Brood entrance, as well as offering criticisms to WWE's decision for Becky Lynch to squash Bianca Belair. I mean, let's be fair, they Kofi'd her, right? Next up was that John Cena's last WWE match ever. And the main event of last night's SummerSlam featured Roman Reigns successfully defending his Universal title against John Cena. The match was praised by fans, and fans have been left wondering after the match just when Cena will return to the WWE again to have another match. But according to Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Cena could be hanging up his boots for good. Meltzer said that Cena's main event match at SummerSlam may be the last time WWE fans get to see Cena in the squared circle. This is due to Cena's commitments in Hollywood and Cena simply not having the time to dedicate his life towards pro wrestling. Now, if this is true, you would have expected WWE to have made a bigger deal out of the fact that this could have been Cena's last match ever. Cena is one of the biggest stars of all time, and they would have wanted to market the fact that the fans may not see him wrestle ever again. Do you guys think that this is his last match? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, CM Punk's debut was pushed back due to the pandemic. CM Punk made his grand return to pro wrestling on Friday evening when he debuted in AEW. He would debut during AEW's Rampage show, and Punk received one of the biggest, if not the largest pops in the history of wrestling. When reports surfaced last month that Punk had signed with AEW, these reports indicated that Punk's signing for the company was a rather recent development. However, this didn't appear to be the case. Punk and AEW owner Tony Khan took part in a media scrum following AEW Rampage on Friday, and during this media scrum, Khan revealed that Punk was going to debut a number of months ago. This was later ruled out as Khan believed that Punk should make his grand return in front of as many fans as possible. Khan revealed, "When there were no fans, I'd like to think we navigated the pandemic as well as we could have. Again, that was nothing anybody could have ever planned for, but it definitely gave myself and Punk a lot of time to talk because there was no rush in doing anything because the fans were not coming back anytime soon, and I think it was worth the wait." It was definitely worth the wait. Speaking of Punk, his brand new t-shirt broke a new PWT's record this weekend as he announced that Punk now owns the record for the most t-shirt sales in a 24-hour period. Punk's return is also doing extremely well for AEW on their official YouTube channel. The upload of Punk's return has over 4 million views, so it's clear that his return had a lot of casual fans invested in the AEW product. And finally, WWE removed Bray Wyatt's sign during SummerSlam. Now, the WWE's release of Bray Wyatt last month was one of the most shocking releases in recent memory. Bray was a multi-time world champion and he was a top merchandise seller in the company, so his release made little sense. Since Bray's release, his name has been chanted in a number of segments on TV, and last night's SummerSlam was no exception. But as well as Bray receiving chants, one fan managed to bring in a sign supporting Bray. The sign was the Fiend in an LA Raiders style logo. It was an awesome sign and even attracted the attention of Bray Wyatt himself, who retweeted an image of the sign on Twitter. But WWE would confiscate the sign from the fan, and according to Meltzer, this led to a somewhat heated exchange. He revealed, "Did you hear they were confiscating Wyatt stuff? There was a big Wyatt sign that I saw during the Biggie and Baron Corbin match, and then they panned away really quick. I was told they took it from the guy, which actually I was told got heated, but the guy did eventually give it up." Now, Bray is expected to sign in AEW in the near future, which fans predict would be a great fit for the former world champion. Until Bray signs for AEW, it can be expected that fans will continue to chant and show their support for Bray at all WWE shows. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.